think about moving abroad, usually there's a lot of excitement. Oh my gosh, I mean, we can imagine what our life is going to feel like, the calmness, the no stress, the peace, the food, the people. But then fear somehow starts to creep in, right? All of a sudden, we're like, oh my gosh, I don't know. How's it going to really work out? Oh my gosh, how is it going to, do I have enough money? Oh, what if I run out of money? Where am I going to get money from? What happens of all the people who are depending on me for money? How am I going to continue to send money? So all those things start to spin in our mind. Then we start thinking, am I going to make a mistake? Is this even smart? Who does this at this age, right? All of those things kind of go in our head, and all of a sudden we're thinking this great idea doesn't seem so great anymore. It all of a sudden sounds like, what? Are you crazy? But I want to let you know that those are normal thoughts and normal fears, but those are not the reason why you should stop. You should go ahead and do this because this is what you want. So I want you to hear me clearly. Starting to move at this age is not too late. The perfect time, I always say, was yesterday. The second best time is today. So if you're thinking about it, you're on the right track. You are not too late. And you're not going to be starting from scratch because you are coming with such wisdom, such experience. And so when you move, you're going to use all of that. And I am pretty sure that this is not the first pivot in your life. Many of you, especially Black women over 40, have experienced that through job loss. You probably might have experienced a divorce. You've experienced emptiness with your children. You have already experienced some kind of change. Something has been different, some kind of letdown, and you're still standing. Yes, you are. And you know what? Because of that, you're going to take all of that with you to your next place. Wherever it is, you are going to take that. But you just got to make a plan, right? So I want you to think about what money steps that you need to make so you can live well abroad. Steps that not only will prepare you, but it will protect you against when money is, you know how money cycles go, right? There's a recession, there's abundance. So I want you to think about how you're going to prepare and be protected. No matter what they say about the numbers, no matter what the market looks like, you are still going to be okay. So one of the things first that I want you to think about is, how much do you spend now for living? What is your living cost? Your mortgage, your rent, whatever it is, your car note, your insurance, your food bill, your cable bill, your internet, your blah, 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 all the things, your entertainment, your clothes, your makeup, your hair, your nails, your lashes, all those expenses, put them down so you can understand how much money you really are spending. Because I always say, usually the women who are part of our community probably was not looking at it to the penny, simply because, you know, they probably had a lot of what do you call it, flush funds, thrush funds, whatever those funds are, right? Where they kind of were like, yeah, I'm good. I paid all my bills and now I'm kind of good. And so, but now I want you to look at everything and know what's going on. And so once you know that, right, once you understand all the money that you're spending, you can now ask yourself, as I move, will I be spending for those same things? And you can also compare. So compare what your current rent or mortgage is to what the cost of living for housing is there. Compare what you're spending on food and see how much food is going to cost there. Are you going to own a car or not own a car? Are you going to have a car note or maybe you won't have a car note? What is insurance like? What is healthcare like? Because now, are your healthcare benefits going to still be with you? Are you retiring and walking away with healthcare benefits? Or are you going to have to buy healthcare? Understand what all those various costs are. And so this way, as you're now preparing, you're also protecting how much money you need because you know what you need. And so you've got to understand what your expenses are, and then you want to talk about how much money you have. So let's not forget, we have so many resources. So many. Yes, I'm going to claim it for you. You have money that you don't even know about, right? The song says, money come to me easily. That is our testimony. And so let's think about all the years you have worked. Are you collecting from all those companies your pension that you might have worked long enough Most companies at one point it was just 10 years. That's all you had to work to be able to collect a pension. Did you deposit to various organizations and companies into their 401k? And did you roll that over, or did you forget all about it? You may have some money there. You may go back and get some money there. So those are kind of things. And of course, we can't forget the things that we always have. Our pension, our Social Security, those are incomes that we also have. What other income streams do you already have? Do you have like a side hustle or some kind of business or rental income, or were you selling products somewhere? These are things that we want to think about. Do you have portfolio income? Do you have investments? Do you have a savings account? And I know a lot of us have more than one savings account. We have our emergency fund, then we got our vacation fund. So you have money stashed probably everywhere. So go and look at all those numbers and see what it adds up, because that money you have, it's not going to go away. It's right there. You get to take that with you. You get to take that money with you. So, but I want you to look at all that and then ask yourself, which one of those streams of income, so I'm not talking about your investment portfolio right now. I'm talking about your streams of income that's coming in, either through pension or retirement, but those are mailbox checks. So what I'm thinking really about is income that you're earning. Do you have a steady income that you can take with you outside of your mailbox checks? From a side hustle or something like that? Do you have something like that? Could you try to have at least one? Just one that you can count on, that you can add that to the cost of the other ones. Because you know, Social Security, I don't think it's going to keep up with inflation. It's probably not keeping up with inflation, and even when you move, it's probably not going to still keep up where you need to. So just kind of think about that. So let's say, what can you do to earn steady income? How about selling digital products? Because now I want you to think about your expertise. Selling digital products. How about tutoring online? How about getting consulting contracts? How about trying to do some remote work for someone? How about trying to be a fractional role? If you are a senior leader, you could do something like a fractional chief role someplace. How about even getting some new skills, right? And signing up for things, you know, there's Fiverr, there's Upwork. Those are some things that also would kind of give you some remote money as well. So those are things you want to think about. Which one of those you can have that's steady? That means like every month, you know, whatever the income is you're getting from that, $5. Every month I'm going to get $5 from this. And so one of those things, when we talk about Upwork and Fiverr, are it's not necessarily as consistent unless you have built a huge following. And then you want to have your peace fund, right? A cushion. Some money is sit there. And remember, we talk about 3 to 6 months. You know, people talk about that's how much you should have. But it also depends on your age. It also depends on what other streams of income that you have. So your peace fund could be your emergency fund, but some kind of cushion that if your income, your steady income doesn't go well, you still have something else to fall on. So I was telling you about the various streams of incomes that I had, that because I was working, I never had to touch them. They just were, you know, accumulating all the time. And so what perhaps maybe you may have something like that already. That could be where your cushion is sitting, that perhaps you were collecting money from something, but you never spend any of that money. Maybe it was dividends or stocks or, you know, shares that were coming in, whatever it could be. Or maybe it was that you had a part-time job and you never spent any of the salary. So whatever cushion you may have, think about that. Because you want to have something for your expenses. Because you're moving, or when you move, there's so many expenses you have to put out. You know, your security deposit, you got to get a moving truck, and depending on if you're bringing stuff, your shipping, which could be very expensive. Let's think about that. Now, when you get there, wherever you're going, you want to understand the rules and the rules of where you're going. How do they manage money? How do they, you know, what are their rules around financial? The other day I went to the bank. Oh my gosh. I was like, so frustrated. I thought I was like, I'm gonna get out of there. I went to the bank to do a simple transfer from my account to another account. So I had to pay for some things, and they told me I could do a transfer. It was the same bank, my account to their account. So I went up there, my two. What would I supposed to have? A deposit slip and a withdrawal slip. That's what I had. I go up there, give it to them. They're like, "Oh, you put this in the wrong column. Go back." Went back, had to fix it. Okay, now I fixed it. I went back. I didn't have my account number, and I just thought, when you go to the bank, you take your ATM, they swipe it, and they have your account number. That's not how it works here. And so I had to now go and find my account number, found that, came back. So now I had my account number, put the money in the right column, right? So they were like, this is not just, I had put it in cash. They're like, no, this is a transfer. Put it in the transfer column. So now I had that correct. And so then they wanted ID. So I had my driver's license, my good old Maryland driver's license. And they're like, no, ma'am, we're not taking that. They wanted to see my passport. I didn't have my passport with me. Who walks to the bank with their passport? So you got to understand systems. You got to understand banking system. I always tell the story about in Nigeria, how many times I had to learn how to write a check. I didn't know how to write a check there until I was messing up. So understand the banking system, understand how it works. It probably could work differently. I love the fact that they have a line for old people, a retiree line just for us, so we can get in that line. So that's pretty cool. Know your taxes. That is something you do not want to fool around with. Understand if you're going to a double taxation country, know what your taxes will be. And I do not care if you don't live in the U.S. anymore. You are still responsible to have a conversation with Uncle Sam, either through paper, whatever way. But they did not release you from your responsibility. So understand around taxes how much you're going to pay. And so I was, I messed up some of my years when I was abroad, because you can't be in the United States. Because I know everybody talks about, oh, you don't have to pay taxes. But your tax is waived, and I think it's still $125,000 a year. But you can't be in the United States more than around 30 days a year. Which means if you're one of those people like, oh, I'm going to come home for a long summer vacation or a long Christmas vacation or something like that, you can't be here more than 30 days. And if you are, you lose that benefit. So just kind of figure that out for yourself. Then understand healthcare costs. How much is it going to cost for your healthcare in this new country? Are you going to buy insurance? Is the insurance that you have that you may retire with, is it going to cover you? One of the things I found here in Panama is insurance is relatively, all over the place in terms of rates, depending on really what you're getting. But because doctors are so inexpensive to go to, I went to the doctor and I did a COVID test, they did some other tests. It was like $50, right? That was seeing the doctor and the test. So I have to ask myself, if I'm paying $500, like per month, or $1,800 as one person quoted me, is that really worth it? So one of the things you have to think about what the cost is. But maybe, so what I did was just get hospital costs and repatriation costs, like if you have to go back to the States, whatever, that your insurance will cover that. And cover if you get sick while you're in the States visiting loved ones or family or whatever, you still have insurance. So those are the kind of costs you also want to consider how much that's going to cost you. You also want to think about if there's any special renewals that you have to do of your residency every year. I know, I think in Mexico, the first year you have to renew in the first year. And so some countries require, in Nigeria, the same thing, you have to kind of keep registering. And then there's a cost to that, right? So it's not totally free. So you want to think about that. Then how much is it going to cost you to get your money from the States to get it over here? So if you're earning money in the States, how are you going to get it here? How? Right? And is there a cost to it? Is there a wire transfer? Are you going to do Western Union? How are you going to get your money? Because every country doesn't have Zelle. Most of them do not. And there is a fee for money transfers. So you want to think about that. So those are some of the things that you want to think about in terms of money. And so you can protect yourself, right? So if you understand those things, you can plan for those things. But if you don't understand it, you can't plan for it. And therefore, you will, you could have a strong chance of facing financial instability. Now, you want to also think about the country you're going to. Don't go because everybody else is going. Oh yeah, this is on the top 5 countries for black women to move to. Can you afford to live there? Can the money that you've just looked at in the first step, is that going to cover your expenses? And are they going to cover it at a lifestyle that you want to live in? A lot of times people get all excited. Oh, this country only requires $2,000 a month. It doesn't mean that you only need $2,000 a month. That's all they're requiring. Go and find out how much it costs to live. I always say at this stage in age, the last thing I want to do is lower my standard of living. Now, I may have come out of a large home and moved into an apartment. That is fine, but this apartment still is at the standard that I'm accustomed to. I do not want to move from hot water to no hot water, from AC to fan. That's just me. Maybe you're different, you know? So think about how much it's going to cost. Think about what kind of lifestyle you want to live, what kind of housing you want to live in, how much is it going to cost in your new country. So I'm going to tell you, when I moved knowing I was definitely going to figure it out because that's who I am. But most of the time you should plan. I'm not going to say most of the time. All the time you should plan your money part. You should know how much money you have. So while I had not seen the country, I had already known for sure the money I was going to be using to sustain myself. I already knew where that money was going to come from. I knew I had more than one place that I was going to come from. And I have been very fortunate. I have not tapped into the majority of the money that I thought, the different sources I had. One of my single sources have basically been able to sustain me. And so I just want you to think about what your sources are, so this way you are not surprised. The only way you're not going to be surprised is to know your numbers. Know your numbers, know what it costs you, know what you got coming in, know how you want to live, know what the cost of living is in that place, and therefore your move will be a smooth move. And that is important. That is very, very important. So I'm Saber, your bougie girlfriend. Guess I should have told you that first, but you know what I need you to do? You keep living an elevated life. Until next time, have an amazing one.